Hello and welcome to the fun-filled nonsense retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick. Joining me equally as always is Seven.
Excelsior, non-believers!
Yeah. For those who are not in the know, that means we're doing something Spidey related today. But what are we doing? We're doing an overhaul of the Spider-Verse.
Yeah,
or rather, the Sonyverse.
We like to call it fantasy booking.
Yeah, the fantasy booking, the armchair fantasy booking.
Yeah.
And before we get too far into that, though, we're going to start with the good old time-honored tradition of the nonsense asinine hypotheticals. What have you got for me today?
I've got a very simple one for you today because I couldn't be asked to think of anything too creative.
Go ahead.
So you have a choice, Rick. You can gain one of two superpowers. They are both superpowers of a Marvel character you're familiar with. You can either grow extremely large at will or become extremely tiny at will. Which do you pick and why?
I think I'm going with the tiny, because large has a lot of logistical problems around it. Obviously, assuming that you can return to your regular size.
I said at will.
Yeah. I think the logistical problems of being incredibly large are a lot more problematic than becoming tiny whenever you want. If we go with the Ant-Man variant of you still have the same amount of force behind your punch, just concentrated a lot more.
No, we're not doing that. No.
That's even better, but, even if you're little and you can be squished very easily, you probably know how not to around your own home. And can you choose any point in between, or is it just you have two set times of normal size and thumb?
My understanding of it was going to be that your how big you are now is your height standard, and you can go as small as you want, but you can't go as small as atom size because then that obviously gives Tiny a big advantage.
Yeah, you got the quantum realm advantage, which is bullshit. Yeah, so tiny as you want probably has to still be, visible at least with a microscope.
I'd honestly argue that visible to the naked eye.
Yeah. So I can go to action figure size, no problem. And yeah, cool.
I was thinking like Dormouse size personally, which is even smaller than an action figure.
Oh yeah, totally. Like my baseline for very small is kind of thumb sized for a very small one, so like a Space Marine. Action figure is a bit bigger, obviously. Like your big dolls are a lot bigger than that. Man, how cool would it be if you could just choose to be like a third of your size and then just have giantess fantasies with a partner?
I mean, if that's how you want to go with it, fine. You brought up Space Marine, so my mind went to, shrink yourself down to Space Marine size and have the most fun time ever at Warhammer World.
Yeah. Except you can't go in.
Well, you can go on that really big fuck off one.
Yeah. If you can get out without going back to regular size and crushing everything.
I mean, as long as you've got someone spotting you, you'll be fine.
Yeah, true. Someone's got a tape measure that you can use as an airlift.
Yeah.
But yeah, how about you? Which one would you pick out of the two, big or small?
I mean, I'm leaning towards small, but you said small, so I'm going to say big because wouldn't it be great to be being picked on by some fuck? I work retail, alright? So I would love nothing more than to be having a bad day, having someone being a fucking aggressive shit for no reason, and then blah, I'm 12'4", I destroy you.
Yeah.
I would then be put on a
not
criminal
even destroy
list,
you,
but,
just go to 25% bigger, and then suddenly that's noticeable, and you just stare them down.
If I would be a menace if I had the ability to become giant. There is no
a menace. I'm pounding my fist on the desk.
I could also try and lose a bunch of weight, make myself look real fit, and then do an excellent Vegeta into giant ape cosplay.
Yeah, sweet. It would involve having to invent the armor that expands, though.
Oh no, here's the thing: is you'd have to just slip into a costume. You just have to find a way to make your transition so smooth that you can go from that into giant costume.
Yeah, I mean the spandex is probably pretty stretchy.
It's not that stretchy.
Okay, but when you can get a really tiny spandex and that you can stretch out to human size, well, you get a human size one of that you can stretch to giant size.
I don't think that exists.
Okay.
It doesn't even exist in Dragon Ball. It breaks.
Yeah.
Anyway, Rick, how about you? What's your question for today?
My question for today is a simple one, and one that I've probably asked before because it's the kind of thing that I would have asked before. You get a cantrip, a D&D cantrip. Can you remember me asking this before? Because I can't.
I can't remember you asking it before. I feel like we've asked variants of magic, but never specifically a cantrip. Could be wrong. I don't have the list in front of me.
Yeah, my idea was if you pick a cantrip, then there's no like caveats about you get infinite mana to cast the spells or whatever, because you like explicitly can just do this as often as you like. So you get a cantrip from any known spell list on the D&D spell list.
Friends.
Okay. So you get to be friends with someone for like an hour, and then they hate you.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. I don't think they hate you. They have to be aware that you cast that spell on them.
Oh, they are aware.
Oh,
when it wears off, that's what makes them aware.
Well, it's honestly, you could just keep wrapping it, can't you? Or are they immune to it once you've cast it once?
I don't know if they're immune, but yeah, after an hour, they just go, "Oh, fuck that guy," and their attitude drops by one stage, which is normally from neutral to unfriendly.
That's fine. I could deal with that. Like, honestly...
Or unfriendly to hostile.
If you... Well, fuck it. If they're unfriendly, they're already hostile. They just need a nudge. It's one of those where when you're talking about D&D cantrips in particular, and I'm only going by the player's handbook, because that's the only fucking thing I've got in my head, sort of. Like, in the real world, you want utility rather than just straight up damaging, because my first instinct was Firebolt, which is useful if you're a survivalist, but I am not.
Yeah.
So it's like, friends. I'll become friends with Ray Mears for an hour.
Yeah, like Firebolt's even better than Eldritch Blast for utility, because it sets things on fire, whereas Eldritch Blast just doesn't.
Well, yeah, and also you can only target organic living things with Eldritch Blast, at least if you go by the player's handbook description.
Yeah, although it's a good way to search for pests in your home.
Yeah, but I
keep
don't...
Eldritch Blasting all around the place, and then finally it goes off. That's where the mouse was.
I have no beef with mice. If my house was infested with them, I'm sure that attitude would change, but nah, it's not, so I'm like, fucking whatever, live and let live.
Yeah. I saw a cute little mouse out when there was snow. Like, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have seen it if there wasn't any snow.
That mouse is definitely dead then.
Oh, maybe not. Like, there are a lot of places to huddle up.
If you were able to see it, Rick, that means other things with better eyes than you can also see it.
Okay, but it was nighttime, and I lost visual on it after it went into the herb pot.
Oh yes, because owls known for not being able to see shit in the dark.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, anyway, honestly, the only two choices for cantrip are either guidance or friendship or friends. I forget the exact wording of the name of the spell.
Yeah, I think friends is the right name for it. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm leaning more towards friends because guidance can help, but it's just how it actually works in the real world will probably be not as useful as it works in the tabletop, where you can see a statistical improvement every time you cast it.
Yeah, and you can see someone needing your guidance in real time, and they're just like, and they got the big think on, and you go, guidance. And they're slightly better at it.
But yeah, you've had a bit more chance to think about this, obviously. So what's your answer?
Yeah, like after thinking about all of the freaking damage ones, I just thought, like, what's better than prestidigitation? Because like you can clean or soil an area of like 5 foot cube in 6 seconds. Like, how great is that? And you can flavor things.
The problem is if your magic is too obvious, you will be enslaved by the capitalist pig gods.
Yeah, which is why I'm basically going to restrict it to things that are good for me, and also to coin a phrase from Bart Simpson, I must only use this power to annoy. And like, what greater power is there when you're annoyed with someone than to shit their pants on their behalf?
Yeah, I suppose.
Yeah, great. And yeah, you can turn like an omelette into something that tastes like a 5-star steak.
Well, they had this thing in. Do you remember the movie Little Nicky?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
this cook tastes like Pepsi.
Yeah. And the dog takes a piss out of him, and so you're supposed to turn it into moose piss. I love that movie. It's great. It's before Adam Sandler started to really be like, I just want to make movies with my friends, which I'm not knocking him for, but a lot of them are not my cup of tea.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, we got friends in prestidigitation. But yes, today we're doing an armchair booking of the Sonyverse, and Devon has pointed out to me that really the thing that would fix it and would make this video very short is add Spider-Man. So that's kind of off the table as a very simple solution.
But I do also want to point out that as soon as I said I'm going with the personal rule of no including Spider-Man because Sony aren't allowed to do it, and immediately Rick's response was, oh.
Oh, bollocks. Yeah.
Because I thought it was obvious and then decided to tell Rick, this is obvious, so I didn't feel the need to specify it, and apparently I should have done. That being said, Rick, do you want to explain to the audience what movies are part of the quote-unquote Sonyverse?
Yeah, as off the top of my head, there's Madam Web, Morbius, Kraven the Hunter, Venom, and was there any others?
Venom 2 and Venom 3, but that's all Venom.
Oh, yeah, Venom 2, Venom 3. And is Into the Spider-Verse part of the Sonyverse, or is it just something that Sony Animation has done and, the one thing that they've done right?
Okay, it's not part of the Sonyverse. However, and I don't know how well they've kept up with this project, but they were making a Spider-Noir TV series with Nicolas Cage as Spider-Noir. But whether that is a connection to either the Sonyverse or the Into the Spider-Verse, we don't fucking know.
Yeah, okay. So it's under their aegis, but it seems to be that they're counting the live-action things as the Sonyverse things.
Yeah, we're calling it the Sonyverse pretty much to take the piss out of them, because...
Oh yeah, they don't want to call it the Sonyverse. They want it to be the Sony the Sony live-action pictures collection of Spider-Man related films.
If you want to get technical, it's actually just called Sony's Spider-Man universe. But everyone calls it the Sonyverse because, again, to take the piss out of them, because not everything needs to be a cinematic universe, and they sure as shit should not make a Spider-Man themed universe without fucking Spider-Man.
Yep, and that's therein lies the first problem. So that's my first pick is to add a Spider-Man, or a lack of a Spider-Man is brought to the forefront. If you set it in the world that was in Into the Spider-Verse the first, where Spider-Man himself has passed away, then you've got a reason for there not to be a Spider-Man. People can reference back to it, people can refer to it, people can lament that there isn't a Spider-Man. Even the Venom that might need to be rebooted anyway, because the current Venom is probably dead, could have a reason to have the spider-like powers because he's had the Spider-Man encounter. He's experienced emulating Spider-Man's powers with symbiote powers, and that's what he brings to the table every time he gets a new host.
It's one of those weird ones where we're going back to the discourse of Humble 2018 with Venom 1 coming out, where they did a pretty decent job making a new Venom design without the big fucking spider on it, because the reason why he's got the big fucking spider is he fucking loves Spider-Man in the weirdest hate-love relationship ever. It's almost incelly, where he's like, if I can't have Spider-Man, no one can.
Yeah.
But anyway, they managed to...
And that's why they were enemies for so long, yeah.
They managed to do a pretty decent job of making a Venom without the spider logo. However, even in 2018, when the film came out, it's there's not going to be a Spider-Man in this movie, and everyone's like, how the fuck can you have Venom without having a Spider-Man?
I know, right?
And the answer is not good.
Yeah, I liked the Venom movies. They weren't the best, but they filled the time, and I don't regret the time that I spent watching them. Unlike Morbius, which I watched on a plane and fell asleep during.
I paid money to see Morbius, and Morbius is what killed me watching any of these. I've only watched the Venom trilogy. I've not watched Kraven, and I've not watched Madam Web. By all accounts, Madam Web was really shit.
Yeah. Kraven may as well be still out for all I know or care. I have no interest in it. If Kraven the Hunter is your favourite Marvel character, I apologise, but not very hard.
Here's the problem, though, here's the biggest problem with them bringing out a Kraven the Hunter movie, is Kraven was arguably the main antagonist for Spider-Man 2, the video game.
Right, okay.
Or at least he was until Venom properly showed up and had his heel turn. Spoiler for a game that I don't think you're going to play anytime soon.
Oh, no, because, all the spoilers are out, and even if they do bring it out on the PC, which I don't know if they have yet, I don't think they have for this one.
Nah.
I think they brought the first one out, but not the second. It's going to be ridiculously old by the time it comes out on PC.
Mm-hmm.
And, the same problem with FF16 and, the FF7 remake of, people who have PlayStation 5s can see all these things and do all these things, and, oh boy, all the articles go up on the web.
Well, Sony did a good job with those fucking deals, because they want to milk it for as long as it lasts, because Square Enix is like, fuck, we're getting fucked by these deals.
Yep.
But anyway, they did Kraven in Spider-Man 2, the video game, and he was awesome. It was a well-established Kraven going up against a well-established Spider-Man.
Yeah, so they're both at their peak.
Exactly.
Does he hunt Miles as well?
Honestly, he's not even really... he sort of hunts Miles, but he's more interested in Parker.
Right.
He wants to kill us... Well... Okay, in that game, Kraven's got some incurable disease. It might be cancer, it might be turbo cancer. Either way, it will kill him. So he doesn't want to die to a disease, he wants to die fighting.
Right, okay.
So he wants something to kill him. So that's why he's going after all of these superpowered villains. And like, if the villains start dying, then Spider-Man will have evidently come after him, and then maybe Spider-Man will kill him, not knowing Spider-Man doesn't kill people.
Yeah. yeah. So it's one of those like suicide by cop, but like I appreciate that he's doing it to villains first, and not just going, okay, this guy is beating all the villains, that means he's a greater threat, therefore I must go after him instead.
Yeah, man. I mean, he kills Matt Gargan.
Ah, sweet.
But the annoying thing is he does it off camera.
Oh.
Yeah, I know.
Like, it means that we don't get Gargan Venom, but that's kind of cool anyway. Like, I remember Gargan Venom from my only interaction with him, which was Marvel Ultimate Alliance 2. I was like, why does Venom have a tail? Oh, he's not the Venom that I know.
That's why.
Why does Venom eat people? Oh.
I mean, Venom kind of eats people anyway, but
Oh, he does. But Matt Gargan himself, like, really enjoys it.
The best thing about Marvel Alliance 2 is you try and kill 50 people as soon as possible, because then you get the other Venom costume.
Yeah.
Do you know who's got the Venom symbiote in Spider-Man 2, the video game?
Oh, it's Harry, isn't it?
There you go.
Yeah. And it's also to like cure turbo cancer, isn't it?
It's some sort of disease that they do specify, but it's one of those made up bullshit ones, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So it's like they'll make up something that has some vague similarity to something in real life, like I don't know, motor neuron disease, which is obviously a real thing with like degeneration of the motor neurons that essentially leaves you as a paralyzed husk.
My only regret is I didn't cure my bonitis.
Yeah.
Not to make light, but Rick decided to go really heavy, so I'm dialing it back with a Futurama reference. Right, let's get the ball rolling again. I would argue the only good thing about the Venom trilogy of movies is Tom Hardy.
Yeah. I also liked Venom himself, even if he wasn't, accurate, because Venom doesn't afraid of anything, basically.
Yeah, that's just it. This is why I specified Tom Hardy as Eddie Brock is great. Everything else in the movie is a bit shit.
Yeah, I liked Clown Venom. I appreciate that he wasn't accurate.
Oh, I think it's fun. It's not what I would have wanted.
Yeah. So they tried to disseminate a Spider-Man experience into Venom by putting the wisecracks into Venom himself as a symbiote, and have most of that only in Eddie's head. So people that can't hear Venom think that Eddie is this like stoic, menacing badass, whereas in the background, Venom's going, "Jump out the window, pussy."
You do. I know. I appreciate it's probably not a difficult voice to do for someone who's got voice acting chops, but your Venom's pretty good, Rick.
Yeah, pussy.
Even more
it's
impressive.
It's a really easy one to do, yeah.
Even more impressive is there's no modulation on that. You're just doing that with your voice.
Oh yes, definitely. Like if there was modulation, it would probably be really obvious. Yeah, it's a real easy voice to do, and like I probably can't do it all day, but yeah, if I have a D&D character that needs to speak like that, like I don't know, an undead or something, then they will. That'll be a voice that I don't forget to go into. Oh boy. So yeah, my setting of choice is the Dead Spider-Man setting. How about you? Do you have a setting of choice?
Not really. I don't. Here's the thing: is I don't think they're allowed to bring up Spider-Man in the Sonyverse movies. I think they're only allowed to do it when they work on the MCU, which just completely fucks this premise entirely.
Yeah.
And also, let's not beat around the bush here. Morbius is a big offender for really teasing people's dicks with their trailers, because they showed a graffiti artwork of Spider-Man. They zoomed in on it for their trailer, and they were like, yeah, see, we're set in X universe where Spider-Man's dead. But they're not, though.
Yeah. And then it was Morbin time.
It was indeed Morbin time. Let's talk about Morbius and its placement in this weirdness. In that, Morbius wasn't a good movie. I'm not even going to pretend it was. I don't think anyone should pretend Morbius is a good movie. If you enjoy it, you enjoy it. Fine, fair enough. Morbius is an interesting character. He's fucking not in his own movie.
No. Yeah, it was, like, the fact that I went to sleep means that it can't have been that good.
So there's a few issues with Morbius here. Let's go through them one by one. First and foremost, what the fuck was that Vulture bullshit?
Yeah, it was odd.
Even Michael Keaton was asked about it, and he said, "Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why they did that. I mean, Michael Keaton's going to do it. It's a paycheck, and I don't blame him. But it's one of those where, I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah. It's it was very obvious, like clawing pandering. You know what I mean?
And the annoying thing as well is it was all of his scenes were in the trailer.
Yep. Oh boy.
The other annoying thing is Venom Let There Be Carnage came out a year before Morbius. I'm looking at half a year before Morbius. I'm looking at the release dates. And Morbius, some people may or may not know, is a key feature in the Let There Be Carnage storyline in the comic books.
Yeah, fair enough. I've not read the comic, so
So why the fuck did Morbius come out after? Now, here's the thing, is Let There Be Carnage is also really difficult to do without a Spider-Man, so let's not beat around that bush either. So it was already doomed to failure. Yeah. But they had a Morbius movie coming out, and they said it after Let There Be Carnage.
Yeah. Like isn't the whole point of the Carnage storyline that that's the actual beginning of Venom's face turn, because he has to work with Spider-Man to take out Venom to take out Carnage, because neither of them are strong enough on their own.
Sort of. Venom's in a weird place at the beginning of the Let There Be Carnage storyline in the comics, where he's kind of already focusing on evil, as it were.
Yeah, he's already calmed down.
He doesn't target innocence. That is what he stresses. However, he's very loosey-goosey with that rule, shall we say?
Yeah, it doesn't target innocence, but if one gets caught up in it...
Pretty much. I think the Let There Be Carnage movie was fine, given the limitations, but boy, could a lot of stuff have been a lot cooler if they'd have just made it an 18 and not been pussies.
Yeah. Like, you got a serial killer. How are you gonna, tone down a serial killer so much?
I'm just noticing, by the way, that Amy Pascal was a producer on the Venom movies, so...
Okay.
That's just weird. Her name's coming up a lot lately.
Yeah, fair enough. So yeah, I think Dead Spider-Man universe, I don't think it's wrong to have a spider in there. So depending on how the Spider-Verse animated version continues/ends, you could have a Miles, you could have a Spider-Gwen. Obviously not the actual Gwen Stacy from that universe, because that's part of the regular Spider-Man's, regular Peter's story.
Depends on the universe, and if you asked Stan Lee while he was still alive, he'd say, boy, do I regret doing that. I don't even know if he did it. I think the story goes that he was on holiday, and when he came back, Gwen Stacy was dead, and he was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's one of those. The other thing might be he might have been given the choice of Gwen Stacy or Aunt May, because they needed to kill somebody to raise the stakes.
Again, I'm not theory crafting here, Rick. I'm telling you the story.
Okay.
I believe Stan Lee either he gave the go ahead and then immediately regretted it, or he wasn't a part of it at all, found out and was furious. It depends what interview you listen to, because Stan Lee's one of those fucks who would give different answers depending on the day of the fucking week.
Oh yeah, like me. Yeah. Yeah. Different answers to the same question depending on how things were remembered in the day. Yeah.
He was also like what was he? He was like in his 90s when he passed away, so I don't blame him for having memory issues for something that happened in the goddamn, what was it, 70s?
Yeah, 70s, even 60s maybe, but yeah, like a long time ago. Before either of us.
Oh yeah, definitely. Obviously you approve of Gwen Stacy's death because it gave you Mary Jane Watson.
Yeah, well, okay, I don't approve of her death. I just approve of Mary Jane. Because I also really like Spider-Gwen.
I've also got to be honest with you, Gwen Stacy dying is much better than that fucking weird storyline where Norman Osborn fucked her, got her pregnant, and just cut Peter for no reason.
Yeah.
Do y'all remember that? In the aren't comic books great? Oh, they're the best. Yeah. Movies should be more like weird comic books, right?
Yeah. Okay, yeah. When we say that, we mean the good comic books.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Like, even the ones that had massive issues, like Civil War, could have been done better than it was done in the MCU, for instance.
Oh, yeah, but honestly, they could have done Civil War to the scale of Endgame if they wanted, but then Endgame wouldn't have been special.
Yeah, totally. Like, it set up the conflict between Cap and Iron Man before Endgame, so they could just, like, really quickly put it aside during Endgame.
It also really emphasizes why, for some heroes, the Superhero Registration Act was bullshit. Like, Thor just fucks off and goes, this shit's dumb, bye.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel's
I'm
around.
not even a person.
Actually, I think that's when Captain Marvel lost her name, right, and became Miss Marvel. Wait, other way around.
Yeah, other way around. Yeah, because she was just Ms. Marvel until then. She became Captain Marvel.
Yeah, and then she fucked off to space to do some cool shit.
Yeah, and it left the Ms. Marvel name open for about 10 years.
I don't mind Ms. Marvel getting a brand change, but
yeah.
I think some people forget how much Carol Danvers is not a good person. That's all I'm gonna say. Like, she's done some fucking dirt.
She has.
Oh, God, and she's the main bad guy in Civil War 2. There was a Civil War 2, Rick, and those comics are awful.
Yeah, they are. And I think, like, the final ending thing was Steve Rogers going Hail Hydra, because he's still in his indoctrinated phase.
I don't think Captain America really shows up during that run.
Well, it's because Miles kills Captain America is the thing that's he's gonna get blamed for, isn't it?
Okay. We can't talk about this because we'll be here for an hour, and it's just going to be me bitching.
Yeah, all right.
So...
So here's the thing: I would have a Spider-Man, probably Miles.
I don't think you could. I don't think you could have Miles. You need to have Peter pass the torch to Miles. You need something else.
Okay. Because like in that world, Peter's been dead for like a year or so. So having Miles get bit by the other spider, because it is just another spider, allows him to grow into things. He doesn't have the formative experiences of having a Peter to teach him, but he can still base his values around what he thinks Spider-Man would have done, have his formative villain experiences with his own like rogues gallery that's a bit smaller, and then bring in the others, like have his ally be Madam Web, have her drag him into things, and have her like bring him up to speed on what it means to be a spider.
Okay, I've not seen Madam Web, but you're bringing up terms that I'm hating.
Okay, yeah, okay, so let's talk a little bit about Madam Web. So apparently, she's a person who was born in Peru and orphaned in Peru. And
I swear
to New York.
I swear to fuck, they did not bring up the spider god of Mega Ultra Opolyps in Madam Web.
Did they not?
Okay, wait, are you asking did they not, or are you saying did they not?
I don't even know. I've not watched it.
Oh, so how come you... okay, sure. Okay, so depending on the comic book run and how far into Peter's life you get, there's actually an ancient spider god, and that's why Peter Parker's... Okay, it's not why he's got his spider powers, but it's kind of guided him towards his spider powers. By the way, he emits a spider sex pheromone that makes an underage girl really want to fuck him. Don't ask.
Oh boy. Yeah, there's... I don't know how far back in the past the Madam Web show, movie is set. I think it is like at least... So apparently the prologue takes place in the 70s, and then the main story is in like the early 2000s. So she can be like in her 50s by the time it comes to like present day, as it were.
Okay. Maybe we should watch this movie for the podcast, Rick.
Yeah.
Be miserable. I'll be miserable for fucking an hour and a half. Hopefully that's the run time, and you can fall asleep.
Oh boy, yeah. Was it Dakota Johnson? Was it? Yeah, she was very, very annoyed to find out that this wasn't a real Marvel movie.
Well, I brought this up when Madam Web, not long after Madam Web came out, when she was doing interviews, and I'm like, this is like the 5th actor Sony have tricked to be in their movies.
Yeah.
Like they did it to Matt Smith as well with Morbius. He thought it was an MCU movie. That's why he signed up.
Yeah, shit. Oh man. Oh yeah. Jesus fucking Christ. But yeah, I would have Madam Web be the one that takes him under his wing and like teach him things. Like not necessarily all the best things, because she's a bit of a fuck in the comics. She's a bit of a fuck in the old 90s Spider-Man show. I think a friend of mine's actual words about Madam Web was, "Oh yeah, she's an arse."
Well, it's weird, isn't it? Because Madam Web has some rules, but she never tells you what they are.
Yeah. And she sits on top of her throne of lies, tugging all the strings.
I mean, it's got webs.
Yeah.
I really like Madam Web's design in the 90s cartoon. Every other design has kind of failed in comparison.
Yeah, totally. I think in the movie, like her big deal is like having precognition, like even before she gets the full powers and things like that. So
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. I've not seen it.
Yeah, so like being an actual oracle cool. And then pretty much everyone else is essentially a villain as far as Spidey is concerned. So introduce them against the Spidey.
Again, like, you're just using Spider-Man as a crutch, which you're not allowed to use.
Yeah.
Like, I know you've decided to go away from Peter and being like, oh, it's Miles Morales instead of Peter Parker, and it's like, okay, it's still a Spider-Man, and Sony can't do it.
Yeah, fair enough. Like, I didn't know that they weren't even allowed to use Miles.
Well, I mean, maybe they can use Miles, but they've not used anyone from Peter Parker's sphere, you know what I mean? Apart from Eddie Brock, but he's a villain, so that he's allowed, I guess.
Yeah, they use Eddie Brock.
They can't even use Flash Thompson, because he's in the MCU.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
Oh, they can't use Miles, because Prowler's in the MCU.
Okay.
Oh, did you not know this? Remember Donnie Glover got, like, a scene?
Okay. No, I don't remember that, no.
In the first MCU Star Wars movie, Donnie Glover gets interviewed and webbed to something, and it's like one of Tom Holland's first fucking captures, and it's just like, is this your first blah blah blah? That's Aaron, I think his name's Aaron.
Yeah, okay.
And that's the Prowler, and we know he's the Prowler because he managed to get a cameo into the Spider-Verse, dressed in the full gear, and it's like, yeah, give me this movie.
Yeah. Okay. I get with that now. Yeah, I like that. That's kind of cool, man.
Yeah, it's very weird.
But yeah, these villain movies, like they don't have the gravitas that they would have if they weren't villains first.
Well, here's another issue, Rick, is we both watched Venom 3. At the end of Venom 3, it says Noel will return. I made the joke that, oh, Noel's going to be this universe's Thanos, and then 3 months later, there's a fucking... there's a web article saying that Noel is going to be the villain of the Sinister Six movie, and it's like, fuck off, I was joking!
Yeah, well, does that mean the Sinister Six are going to be the fucking heroes against Noel? Jesus, that's a choice.
I mean, you've got to bear in mind that they've been gearing towards a Sinister Six team-up since the end of Morbius, and that's why the Vulture swoops. Morbius is like, I'm putting together a team, and Vulture's like, and then it's like, cool, so now we've got to somehow rope in Venom, who we know isn't dead, but he is dead.
Yeah,
and the
Venom as a character is dead. However, he does have the electric child symbiote that's there.
Electric child symbiote?
Oh, it's in the post-credits of Venom 3. There's like the electric child symbiote from Venom that's just like kicking about there.
Yeah, but that was just a Venom symbiote. It's just going to be Venom again.
Yeah. It's going to be Venom again, or it's going to be anti-Venom. We don't know.
It's not going to be anti-Venom. They can't do anti-Venom. No one could do anti-Venom. It always sucks. His design is so cool, but he sucks.
Man.
Oh,
you give anti-Venom to Madam Web, and then she can be anti-Web.
Get out. But they can't even do Toxin because Carnage is gone.
Yeah.
And they've got Kraven as well, who I assume will somehow be able to be roped into the Sinister Six. I found out something really fucking funny. So on the posters for Kraven, you've got him just sitting on a throne in his Kraven outfit, and I'm like, oh my god, that's a really good looking Kraven. Like, that is what I would picture Kraven looking like in the movies. That him sitting like that and looking like that appears in screens for about 15 seconds at the end of the movie.
Oh boy.
And it's like, cool, that fucking sucks.
Oh, it's a bit like Mando, where he spends the entire first season assembling his look.
Well, yeah, but Mando still looks like Mando even during the first. He's just not shiny.
Yeah, he's got the dull versions of the same thing, yeah.
So we've got 4 members of the Sinister Six in Venom, Morbius, Vulture, and Kraven, I assume. Again, I've not watched Kraven, not gonna. We know Rhino can't be in it, because Kraven, I assume, kills him.
Okay, and Dr. Octagonopus is nothing without a Spider-Man.
They can't use Doc Ock, I don't think.
Nah, he needs motivation, he needs to exist. The only Octavius that we've seen, thriving without a Spider-Man is the gender-flipped one in the Spider-Verse.
Yeah, but even then she had a Spider-Man.
Yeah, she had, and now she doesn't. It's great.
But basically, we're doing all this theory crime, like, how can we fix this? And the short version is, don't make a cinematic universe out of villains without a hero.
Yeah. As like, when your biggest team-up is a bunch of established villains are now having to put their backs up against the wall and fight an even bigger villain.
I want to point out, by the way, Morbius and Venom have. I'm going to go out on a limb here because I don't know for a fact, because comic books are dumb. I don't think they've ever been part of the Sinister Six.
I don't think so. No.
Morbius has always been one of those characters that, yes, he's an antagonist to Spider-Man, but he's not actually a villain.
Yeah, he's a bit like the Punisher in that, depending on where you you are on the spectrum, they're either better than you or worse than you, and therefore you're either an ally or a target.
Oh, he's not like the Punisher. He's just his goal is to cure his weird vampire disease, which isn't vampirism, but it is.
Yeah.
And usually that means he causes harm to a bunch of people, and that's why he needs to be stopped. But his goals are a good one, but he uses nefarious means to achieve them.
Yeah. yeah. And then Matt Smith just decides to contract it voluntarily.
I don't think that character exists in the comics.
It was just created to be an arse. To give Morbius something to fight because he's not fighting Spider-Man.
There's nothing worse than a villain just being a carbon copy of the hero, except for Reverse Flash, because that guy's a dick in the best way.
Oh yeah, it was me, Barry.
It was me. I stroked your dick super fast on prom night so you'd come prematurely and embarrass yourself.
Yeah, I can't believe that.
Have you seen that one?
Yeah, I can't believe that that's canon, yeah.
That's not canon. It'd be really funny if it was, but it's not. Yeah, fucking Reverse Flash is so dumb. I love it. Like, if you make something so over the top stupid, I will enjoy it.
Yeah, man. There's even a feat in Pathfinder that does that, where you can just reveal your machinations to someone, and they just get so traumatized by whatever shit you just told them that they just like shut down.
I mean, the cool version of that is literally just fucking Moriarty.
Yeah, pretty much.
Depending on which version of Moriarty. I've been told the version from Sherlock, the fucking Benedict Cucumber series, is very bad.
Yeah, like I've not seen the one with Moriarty, but I have seen the one where he like shows up at the end as a hand with a pistol on a pantograph.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think I've told you before, I refuse to watch that show.
Sure.
It looks bad, and I think Benedict Cucumber's a dick.
Sure.
And yes, I will keep saying Cucumber because my brain is struggling to think of any other polite way of taking the piss out of his name.
Yeah. Penguins.
The funniest thing about I'm sure you've seen it on the Graham Norton show where they go, apparently you can't say penguin, and it's like, I can say penguin, and he does it several times without even thinking about it. It's just like, for some reason he was flubbing his lines in the studio, but the studio didn't tell him and have him do a retake.
Yeah.
And it's like,
yeah.
I think Cumberbatch is a bit of a knobhead, but I also think if you got him in your studio doing a voiceover for you, you should be like, hey, you said penglings. And I think because again, I don't rate the guy as a human being, but he does seem like when he's on the job, he is a professional. If you tell him he did a bad take, he'd probably be like, okay, let's do it again then.
Yeah, totally.
I assume. I don't know the guy.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I say he's a bit of a dick, by the way, is because he's one of these guys who was a bit arsey during COVID about having to wear a mask.
Oh man.
Like, he wasn't a denier. He was just like, why should I wear a mask? And it's like, because everyone does, you dickhead.
Cheese and biscuits, yeah.
It's like, I love Bruce Willis. I think he's awesome, but he did it as well. So in my brain, he's a bit of a dick.
Yeah, totally.
But it's also like unclear how far into like his brain degenerative illness he was. So I'm like, I give Bruce Willis a slight pass.
Yeah, like a lot of these people around the COVID time, like people who are athletes, like you can kind of give them the benefit of the doubt in that they don't believe that they're at risk because they're at the peak of their physical fitness, and then it turns out, oh wait, no, they're all testosterone poisoned, even the women.
I think an NBA star got COVID like a 3 days after like taking the piss out of people being pussies. Like, so I don't believe in divine justice, but I did for a minute.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, we were talking about Cumberbatch because we talked about Sherlock, because we talked about Moriarty, because we talked about polar opposite villain.
Yeah, like, actually, he wouldn't be a bad villain in the Sonyverse, let's be honest. Because, yes, he's Doctor Strange, but wouldn't it be cool if he was also Doc Ock?
What are you talking about?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Oh, I don't want to see him in anything. No, Doctor Strange, fine, I can live with that. I don't want him to be another, because here's the problem, Rick, is like, I like Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. I don't think he should be playing Doctor Doom.
I basically kind of agree with that. It's so weird that they picked him for that. Like, it feels like, yeah, he wanted to exit because he didn't want that to be his only role, and then he regretted it, is what it feels like.
Well, he's always been very vocal about being thankful to Marvel for giving him a chance, because, again, people seem to forget. I know it was the sweet tender days of 2008, but Robert Downey Jr. had he was down on his luck, for lack of a better word. There's a joke in The Simpsons where he's having a shootout with the cops. That's how bad his reputation was.
Yeah. He was, that was like the trough of his personal journey, as it were, and that's like everything went up from there, but like it was a meteoric rise from a devastating low.
Yeah, I mean, and the guy has been on and up since, and good for him. But again, I don't think he should be Doom. The only silver lining is, from what we're being told, from little information we're being drip fed, it's a one and done Doom appearance.
Okay.
Like, Robert Downey Jr. isn't going to be the main MCU Doom. I don't know how the fuck that's going to work, but it's also, we're in the stage of the multiverse, so shit doesn't have to make sense.
Yeah, because they've had to swerve away from Kang now.
Yeah, we've gotten to the stage where here's our big cinematic universe, everything's connected. We've done Endgame, now the multiverse exists, so now nothing has to be connected.
Yeah. And when nothing has to be connected, nothing matters, so you can just pick and choose what you want to watch now.
Which, on one hand, is a good thing. On the other hand, it's slightly annoying because now the group of people who I went to see the MCU movies with are like, we don't want to see every movie. And I'm like, I appreciate that. However, I kind of do still.
Yeah. Like full-on movies, I think, deserve the time of day, even if they're shit.
Well, it's also like there's only, like, the last couple of years, Marvel movies, we've had like 2 a year at most, sometimes 3.
Yeah.
It's not like the TV shows, which you can 100% skip.
Totally.
Anything important that happens in a TV show will be a flashback in a movie.
Yeah, it'll get recapped. Like, I think the most important TV show so far was the Ms. Marvel TV show, because she was like that much of a big deal in the Marvels.
Yeah, but the Marvels also didn't matter.
Oh yeah, totally.
The one thing that mattered in the Marvels was Rambo's fucked off to the Fox X-Men universe. They haven't done anything with that or even hinted at it.
Yep. The Foxyverse is now connected because they now own Fox.
But, okay, so here's the actual ultimate answer to fantasy booking. We'll wrap this up very nice and easy, Rick, with here's how we fix the Sonyverse. Sony, give up.
Pretty much. Like, if you want to keep your finger in the pie, work with people who have demonstrated that they can do it better.
But the only thing that they did well was the fucking Spider-Verse animated movie, and they fucking fired the creators of that.
Yeah. Like, Sony are pretty good at allowing other people to make good things when they let them do the good thing, rather than sitting over the shoulder and pushing all the buttons themselves and trying to do everything themselves and make everything the fucking same. So, yeah, like, if you must continue with all of this, let the people that you hire to do the thing. If you really want to make money out of the thing that you've been camping, then swallow your pride and let someone else in on the action, like Disney Marvel.
I'm sorry, Rick. I want to stop you ever so slightly, because I just decided to look at the Wikipedia page for Sony's Spider-Man universe, and the end of the first paragraph is great. Do you want to hear it?
Okay, go ahead.
Distributed by Sony Pictures Releasing, the films are based on various Marvel comic characters and properties commonly associated with the character Spider-Man, who is not prominently featured in the franchise. And yet, it is called Sony's Spider-Man Universe.
Yeah. Oh, it's got a much longer name than that, isn't it? It's like the Sony Pictures Universe of Spider-Man characters, is what they want you to call it.
No, they want you to call it Sony's Spider-Man Universe, the SSU.
Okay.
That's what it says on Wikipedia.
Okay, so it led up on you having to call it the Sony Pictures something.
I don't think they've been called Sony Pictures for actually years.
Yeah, like, this is the last time I remember them, like, having that statement, like, because I read it on, like, okay, bastion of journalistic integrity, Kotaku.
Oh, right, yeah, so bollocks.
But, yeah. But yeah, it linked the tweet in which they said it, so I was like, oh, okay, this is stupid. We're calling it the Sonyverse. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So I guess that's time for a wind down. If you liked the video, there is the comment section on YouTube and Spotify. Tell us what you would do with this train wreck of a multiverse that Sony seems to want to happen. Tell us why we are wrong for the things that we've said. And if you don't have either of those, we have the email, which would go to nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com.
That's right. Join us for more episodes of the Retrospective, where it takes us an hour to say, don't do it.
Oh, it's like the freaking little Karibo thing. Don't watch it.
To be fair, looking at the stats, by all accounts, movies after Morbius, people haven't been watching it.
Yeah, including me. I've not watched a single one apart from Venom 3.
It almost feels bad to lump Venom in with the rest of this, because if Venom wasn't connected to the other bollocks, it would still be shit, but it wouldn't be anywhere near as bad. You wouldn't have a bad taste in your mouth for just saying it.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.